Welcome back, everybody. I hope you're all fantastic. Today on 5-Minute Tones, I want to pull apart a little patch that I made over the weekend using a delay, a reverb, and an ADSR controller. I've talked about a lot of controllers on the channel before, ranging from stuff like the LFO, the sequencer, and of course the mighty pitch follower controller. But I haven't really talked about the ADSR. It's one of the controllers that for me has taken the most time for me to wrap my head around. Hopefully this example will be illustrative and help you wrap your head around it if you've never used the ADSR before or never really understood why it's in there. I know that's definitely the case with a lot of things in the act. Sometimes you don't know why you might want to use them. When you have that motivation, a little light bulb goes off and you can go and be really, really creative and dial in some fun sounds. Okay, before we get going, I've got the Brit JM45 dialed up. I'm using one of my own cabs. You can get this one on Exchange. My handle there is 2112, and I'm using the JFET compressor. Let's just have a listen to the basic clean sound. All right, fun stuff. The first step for this particular patch is a delay. I'm using the digital stereo delay. As you can see, the left-right time ratio is offset just a little bit. Mix at 100%, level at 0, a little bit of high and the low cut, and a little bit of modulation. Let's have a listen to just the delay. There's a lot of feedback on there because as this delay, basically as it repeats fade out, I want them to get washed out by a big reverb. And in order to do that, I've chosen the chorus hall algorithm, which I love the sound of. Sounds so good. Generally, if you want a lush reverb, use any of the hall types in the Axe FX 3. But I've attached an ADSR controller to the mix there. So when the controller is at its maximum, I want the mix to be 0. This means that I'm playing, I'm triggering the controller, I'm saying, hey, go to your absolute maximum. I don't want any reverb there. And when I stop playing, I want that controller to start to basically turn the mix all the way up to 100%. So as those delays decrease in value, the amount of reverb on them is going to increase. So as you can see, I've offset the mid-range of this particular controller a little bit just to give it that kind of curve. And let's go to the controller section and look at how I've actually set the ADSR. So really quickly, you can see there's about 500 milliseconds of delay there, and there's about 4 seconds of reverb. So in the controllers, I've got this ADSR set so that it just plays through once. But when I exceed this particular threshold here, it is going to re-trigger the ADSR. So think about it kind of like a custom envelope controller curve. Once I trigger this by playing and exceeding this threshold, the ADSR is going to sweep through this particular curve. And remember, it's just turning the mix of a reverb up. That's what I'm doing. That's the way I've designed this. So the attack is as fast as possible because I want it to trigger straight away. And I've set the sum of the decay and the sustain to be around the same time as the delay, meaning once I back off and once those echoes start repeating every 500 milliseconds, for every repeat, there's going to be a little bit more reverb. This is going to go down this particular slope. And again, in going down that, the amount of reverb's coming up. Now, don't worry, you'll hear it in a second. And then the release, I've set to about 6 seconds, just so it's more than the bass reverb time. Okay, those two together, I'm going to stay on the controllers section here so you can actually see what this controller does. It does this. Check it out. It's beautiful. We have this delay morphing into a reverb. Such a fun way to use these two effects together using the ADSR. Of course, I could go to the delay diffusion and attach the same controller in there. Let's set that to be an ADSR. Again, minimum and maximum, I will flip around. I'll turn the mid up. Basically, so it's doing a really similar thing to the reverb. Just the diffusion does this. Similar kind of vibe. The diffusion in the Axe effect sounds absolutely lovely, but let's combine these two together. So the delays are not only diffusing, they're getting mixed in with an ever-increasing reverb. We'll hit it with some gain now. I'm using my favorite high gain amp, the USA Lead mid gain. I brought the level on the delay down a little bit, and in the controller section, I've just increased the threshold on the ADSR. This is really cool because as I'm playing, I'm just gonna get a delay because I've got retrigger on, but as I start sustaining notes, this ADSR is gonna be going down that slope and the amount of reverb is gonna be coming up. It's so If you want to go in and tweak this patch for yourself, setting the threshold to suit your guitar is really, really important. Basically, the decay plus the sustain should be very similar to the amount of delay time you use. So if you bring the delay time down, make sure that these two sum to about the same delay time. You could just turn one all the way down and use the other one. That's probably the clever way to do this. And then set the release slightly longer than the core reverb time you use. You could use this for ridiculously lush sound on sound textures, or you could bring all the values down for a much tighter, discrete kind of sound. I'm going to put this patch up on AxeChange for you all to check out. Thanks so much for watching the video. I hope you all really enjoy this and can adapt it to some of your own patches. Stay excellent. I'll see you next time. Cheers.